came to win, I don't mean to offend. The greatest on the mic, mightiest with the pen. Losing never been a choice, but a line is the same. Ascending, word, bending verse, birth in the gym. Akin to the best, never aiming for less. Opposition so foul, got me calling for rest. Who's next to get bested? Mind, soul, and flesh is antithesis of mess. It's the pressure so clean. So long, you better catch a God, throw him the scenes. Dreams manifest, did you get what I mean? God always had a plan, he created for me. Success only means that I did what he seen. Got the game and the fans locked in like a key. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Sitting on the throne with a crown, I'm a king. Yeah, I think we got one.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Sorry, I think you and I both clicked on that one that time.
Oh, we were helping each other. That's what we do. How you doing?
Outstanding. How you doing?
Hey, it's cold. Got my sweater on. It's sweater weather. Flying my way. Finally. I've been wearing boots all year, so that don't bother me. But
even in the summer.
Yes, I have summer boots. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because you are what's the term you said? You were a city girl with a country heart, or a country girl?
Yes. Yes, yes.
You apply, right?
I might be turning more into a country girl with a city heart. I don't know. No, I think it's a fair balance these days. I love where I live. I always say it. So I don't care if y'all get tired of hearing it. I love where I live. I love California. I love being up north and living in these mountains. It's just, Craig, I'm just telling you, it's such peace. It's such peace and tranquility, and I always use the word grounded because that's what I feel. So sure. I feel like I feel confident that I'm in the space that I'm supposed to be in. I feel happy. Ooh,
right. I mean, it goes on with the topic, right, of not settling, because you didn't settle for just any old kind of place or settle for where you guys were living before. And there's nothing wrong with where you were living before, but it just wasn't the goal. And I think in this modern day age, or the age we're in, or the economy or climate, whatever you want to call it, the season, that's something we have got to remind ourselves, because that was our topic today, right? It's not settling. And
yeah,
I think there's so many areas of our lives where life is so challenging, and I think we were talking off air just a moment ago prepping that it's a constant moment by moment decision as to whether or not you give up or keep it moving. And it's for so often it gets, I'm just tired of making that choice to move forward. I'm tired of making that choice to pursue our passion and keep going. I had a chance to watch a Kobe Bryant interview that they play on. I seem to always the algorithm seems to send me a lot of that kind of motivational speak. And the host was asking him, how do you deal with discouragement, and how do you deal with the whole concept of success and trying to succeed as you were in your career? I don't know where, was this during his playing days at that time, or was it shortly after? Not sure.
Yeah.
His response was basically that it doesn't really matter, because if he fails or succeeds, he's still got to get up and do this thing. And I thought, well, damn, that's pretty basic, because if you're successful at what you do or failure at what you're doing, you still got to get up and do it. And and that's what I'm still trying to remind myself. I sent that to my kids. So we might as well be doing what we want to do, since we got to get up and do anyway, right?
Yeah. Steve Harvey on this compilation video that I was listening to was saying, he said it's hard to succeed. It's hard to get up and do what you're doing. I'm paraphrasing, but the gist is what you were saying. It's hard to be successful and to do the things that you want to do, but it's harder to not. It's harder to live in poverty. It's harder to when you're thinking about settling, it's harder to do what you have been doing when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's harder not to have money. So why not fail trying to do something instead of simply accepting and settling for the failure, because you won't ever know what that other side is like, first of all, and secondly, once you get into what you're supposed to be doing, that becomes the easier thing, because he also says something like the thing that you can do with the least amount of energy, or the least amount of what have you, is like really you're dreaming your purpose and your passion around what you're doing. My words, not his words, but again, that's the idea, is to get to that space where you're clear on what it is that you want. You're living in that purpose, because hopefully, the more you do it, the easier that comes, versus settling and trying to always pull yourself out of the ditch. Yeah.
So it's funny, it's football season, and
Hmm.
so I'm I've always enjoyed football. I wanted to play. Mom and dad wouldn't sign the waiver, and public or private, I should say the
Hmm.
season Pop Warner. It's for the areas, those who have Pop Warner in your area, or even in high school. But if you watch football, almost
Hmm.
every play short of a touchdown is a failure, right?
Hmm.
And when you were talking, I heard the term "fail forward."
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
And I thought, well, I don't get it. So as you kept talking, I kept kind of, prodding the Lord and kind of digging into that thing. And every time a football play is done, a player is tackled. And they teach us, they teach football players, when you're going to fall forward,
Yep.
fall in to get the most yards that you possibly can. They teach running backs to,
Hmm.
you keep your helmet and your shoulders moving forward. You don't stand upright. You keep your basically your head in front of your feet to keep you going. So when you
Hmm.
tackle, the goal is you fall forward for the extra inch, the extra yard. I'm thinking,
Hmm.
so what you were saying is so key, that if we're gonna fail at what we're doing, we should fail moving forward, not fail on the retreat moving backwards.
Yeah.
So if anyone is concerned about what they're doing, they have fears of or scared to do. I was
Hmm.
watching a Tim Ross episode. He talked about, if you're gonna do it scared. And I know he's not the only one that has said that.
Right.
It was the most recent thing. It's just awfully interesting that this is the topic of, we're doing something afraid, doing something tired. You just have to do it, because you have to get up anyway. You have to breathe till you're not. And if we're gonna
Yeah.
do this, we might as well do it pursuing something that makes us fulfilled.
Absolutely. I can't think of the guy's name. Um, but anyway, it's about the gosh, I worked with him.
Hmm.
I'll save that thought. I'll look it up and figure out the name, because I think Jim Collins. Anyway, um, it's one of those things, when Taylor was playing football, and he was a running back,
Mhm.
and I remember the coach was like, because he was such a big boy,
Mhm.
they were like, he's a beast, out there, and to your point, failing forward, he's like, all you got to do is lean on somebody. All you got to do, if you can just keep running, keep pushing. And his first game that he ever played for Hilltop High, he got a touchdown on the first time he got the ball, and he was dragging. I'm not kidding. He was dragging like two or three kids behind him. And he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And I remember everybody's response was, I mean, the crowd was going wild. I was like, that's my boy, of course. But at the same time, it goes along with this. If we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, there may be some people that are trying to drag us down because they may not get it. There may be some people that are trying to keep us from getting to that finish line. There may be some things, some obstacles that are in our way. That whole D line, you may be facing the biggest, baddest, guy on the field. But if you do your job to keep pushing forward, buckle down and get that grit and grind, there is nothing that there's nothing that can stop us but us. We choose to stop. There was this video also of a football player. There's a movie about a football player that
Mhm.
is blind, and
Mhm.
I I want to say that it's based on a true story,
Mhm.
but he's blind, and he lost his sight. He was like the all-star football team, all-star football player, what have you, and then he lost his eyesight in an accident. And he thought the life was over, kind of a thing. Naturally so. You lose one of your limbs, you lose your sight. I mean, that's a devastating thing, I would imagine, and it would be hard to build up the courage or whatever you need to do to rethink your life. And that's really what we're doing. We might be handicapped in some way, but we have to rethink our lives. And so the coach finally, after the young man accepted that he was blind, he started going to the Blind Institute. They taught him all these different things. And the coach was like, I think you need to play. And for a while in practices, I know he couldn't play in his original position and he was going to be the center. The coach was like, you can be the center because all you got to do is snap the ball and get into this rhythm. Then you're snapping and you're blocking, you're snapping and you're blocking. And because his other senses were already in effect, that's not all he needed to, I don't want to minimize it, but all he needed to do was to do that. So ultimately, when the team first found out that he was coming back and he was going to be playing as a blind player, the regulations and all of that, they wanted to change him. The school officials were against it. His mom was even against him playing football when he had sight. But ultimately, they all agreed because it was like, no, you're not going to tell him he's limited. They put all types of obstacles in his way. They would, do the horse, and they would do all these different drills, and they would intentionally move out the way. And some guys were worse than others. But ultimately, he didn't quit. He didn't quit, and he ended up being an all-star again, based on just overcoming his own mindset, leaning on people that were there to actually help him, and understanding like he was serving a greater purpose. So I think we got to get back to that why sometimes, and we talk about that a lot. But failing it helps us to know how we can do something differently, and it's all about mindset and resources that we may not have tapped into. So
Yeah, it's all related, right? I mean, as we watch the things that we do, okay, let's take something basic, for those, oh, I don't play football, Dr. Knight, I can't do that. And well, all of us, not all, but probably a lot of us need to lose weight, right? And so we need to lose weight. What are we doing throughout our life that can help us with that losing? And okay, so a lot of us work from home. Okay, so I know I'm guilty of that person. So if you're like me and you work from home and you get so accustomed to sitting and you think you've got so much to do that you don't want to go outside and get things done, choose it, change it. Find something else that when you have to go outside, maximize the time that you're out there. Park further away. And all of us are going to the supermarket. Not everybody is ordering everything we do from a delivery service, right? And if you walk a couple of times around your house before you pick up your groceries on the porch, because we got to do something. Take the long way around the house to the kitchen. I go to class 2 days a week, and I found this great parking lot, Shell, that is very close to class, very super convenient. I just, as I'm thinking about that, I'm like, why not just park further away? The further I park away, the more steps I can get in. Get my exercise at least 2 days a week as the basic thing, right? Because we got to get from the car to class, from the class back to the car. So do things like that allow yourself, that are easy wins, because if we keep allowing ourselves to have those obstacles, like you mentioned with the blind player, an obstacle could be something like, I just don't feel like it. Well, that's a mental hurdle, right? And if we allow ourselves to continuously get caught up and behind those mental hurdles, we're going to be in a spot worse than we were when we started, because every day we don't exercise, it's going to take us 4 or 5 days to combat the loss or the gains physically that we may have had when we weren't exercising.
Yeah, that sometimes that is has been a depressing moment for me when I first started when I restarted my weight loss journey. Now I'm 3 pounds away from one of my goals, and I'm 10 pounds away from my actual goal. So I'm 13 pounds away from my real true goal. And I'm so excited. Had I stuck with it when I did it the first time, when I realized I had a problem, right? When I realized that my body wasn't operating the way it was supposed to operate, and I go back and I'm like, dang, you could have had that 10 years ago. That was an awareness that I had a couple Sundays ago. I wore a dress that I hadn't worn in 10 years. Now, some of y'all might be like, why you got a dress for 10 years? But it's in a closet where I keep my dresses, and I was on my journey. And so it was one that I saved that I was hoping to get back into. Hey, got back into it.
Yep.
I had it for 10 years, but I got back into it after 10 years. And it was lovely because it reminded me of the work that I had done over the last 2 years. That was really the point. I wasn't doing the work over the last 10 years. Had I, still would have been that size. But
Yeah.
for the last 2 years, it's taken me to get back to that space. I was so happy. And I was right. This is what we're talking about too. It was Jim Collins, Good to Great. I worked with him, myself and my I was the director. She was a senior manager that reported to me. We had an opportunity at a company we worked with to work with Jim Collins on some content for a huge international workshop. And he talks about BHAG in his book From Good to Great. And again, that's what we're talking about. And BHAG stands for big, hairy, audacious goal. He's like, if it's not big, if it's not hairy, if it's not audacious, if it's not this massively scary goal, you're not dreaming big enough. You're
Yeah.
not thinking big enough. So why not go for that thing instead of settling for what you think you can do, right? Instead of
Oh,
settling for what we think our body can handle or what we think our mind can hold or what we think is capable only through our own means. When you start dreaming bigger,
sure.
there's maybe some external forces that you may want to align yourself with. Maybe it's talking to someone who's been there, done that. It's still your dream, but there are people along the way that may be able to support you and going on that journey from good to great. I even heard this morning, I think it was Joel Osteen who said, no, it wasn't Joel Osteen. It was someone else. But anyway, compilation video said, excellence is not the highest. It's actually like outstanding or something like that. I like the word excellence. It resonates with me. But he's saying we're only 2 degrees away from being not just good at something, good to great, but being outstanding, being the best at something. And so I just all of these different things. It amazes me how what we need aligns to the topic that we're on. Like I haven't heard any of Jim Collins, yes, but none of these other things had I heard before we
Right.
made this a topic that we wanted to talk about. And I love that type of inspiration and connection to the universe and to what we're going through and perhaps how we're helping our viewers and our listeners. So anyway.
It's funny because we talked earlier. I mentioned about taking the basic things in your day and maximizing it. I
Mm-hmm.
was so pissed last night, but it relates to what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
One of my classes, I don't like it. Well, first of all, I've already got a degree in electrical engineering, so going back to a junior college, not back to going to a junior college now, kind of in reverse, to get a
Mm-hmm.
degree, an AA in graphic design. There's a part of me I'm just have to adjust my mindset because I've already been to the big show, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm back. I feel like I'm starting over, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that I only like one class right now, which is my graphic design 3 class, was an advanced graphic design class. And I'm in oddly enough, at the same time, I'm taking graphic design 1, the basic intro class. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why, why am I taking the intro class? And I'm doing that one remote. I'm taking the advanced class in person. It feels
Mm-hmm.
like there's such a, just check the box, get out of the way. I don't even want to spend a lot of time reading the assignment because I'm
Mm-hmm.
so far beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mindset problem that I've got to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
The homework assignment that's due tomorrow is I have to go and take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 6 to 8 photos and talk about when you're talking about wording and lettering and application and why those images we chose them and what in terms of how they made us feel or what the purpose
Yeah.
was. And we would just talk about exercise. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
frustrated about having to do this. And now I have to go outside and walk around and find, 6 to 10 images for my homework. So
Yeah.
if I always say the beach is my happy place,
Mm-hmm.
why not be excited about the opportunity to be basically forced to go outside
Mm-hmm.
to take pictures and take
Mm-hmm.
pictures? It's
Mm-hmm.
this when we settle in such a place, such a hole you mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
we can find ourselves so accepting of nothing, so
Mm.
accepting of things that are garbage, and accepting of all of the things that make us feel some kind of way. If we would just take them every moment we can to remember who we are. I know we've used this analogy, this scene before in well, I think all three Black Panther films, right? Where the Queen's always saying, "Show them who you are."
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us can't show because we've forgotten,
Mm.
fallen asleep on who we wanted to be and who God created us to be and who we really desire to be. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a lot more effort for a lot of us to get started again, to get back on that journey, to get into progression mode, to basically get on assignment again, to be where we're supposed to be. And I'm promising myself that I want to do that and be better, to
Mm-hmm.
remember who I was, because I don't like those photos of how I look right now in clothing because I've picked up some weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not blaming it on COVID because I had the weight before. So those who want to blame it on 2020, you can chuck that because probably, unless you were a fitness award winner, you weren't ready then in COVID. So let's
Yeah.
take that barrier out of 2020 and the post pandemic era as
Mm-hmm.
being why we're 10, 20, whatever weight. Let's get it together now. Let's make 2024 today, this particular day, the day that we're moving forward to whatever our goal is, whether it's to win
Yeah.
an award, to do well in school, or to get another job, to get another house, to buy a house, and to
Mm-hmm.
move, to write, to sing, to design, to whatever the two is that's on your to-do list, your bucket list. I think what's going to help me is that I tell my kids all the time, live your life like this moment was the last one you're ever going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And if we did that, what would be different? And I've
Mm-hmm.
listened. It's interesting too that that topic comes up because I've heard some people talk about if this was your last day, your last meal, the last thing that you were going to do, if you want to die today, what would you do?
Yeah.
And some people say, oh, I would party, I would vacation, I would do whatever. And I was listening to it. And for those who throw rocks at and throw shade at Shadur Sanders at Colorado University, the
Mm-hmm.
young man says, I wouldn't do anything different. I would continue my normal routine because I'm already doing what I want to do. And I think that's what the difference is with a lot of us. We're not doing what we want to do. So our goal should really be find out what we really want to do.
Absolutely.
Pray on that, confirm that, right? And when we make the list of things, it should be at least probably 10 things, at least three things, right? That we really want to do. And when we confirm that list, then take every moment that we possibly can and do something towards those goals. And if we can do that 1 day a week, 2 days a week, eventually 6, 7 days a week, man, I think we'd be on our way. Then we would be a lot more settled and peaceful in our lifestyle.
Yeah, in my coaching practice, I actually was meeting with someone last night, and we do a lot with goal setting. That's a huge part of the conversation. And so I was asking this particular client, like, what is your goal? Yes, weight loss is a goal, but there are outcome goals. So if the goal is I want to lose 50 pounds, and there are process goals, what are the steps that you're going to take? So you're not going to go from losing no weight, no activity, no nothing, COVID, whatever excuse or whatever we're doing that has caused us to be in this position. For me, I have an actual condition that if I don't regulate my weight through healthy eating and all of those things, then I will be on the next episode because of the next episode of my 600-pound life. And that's what I tell myself to keep myself in check. I will
Sure,
be on that next episode because my body doesn't operate the way it's supposed to
sure,
work,
sure,
um, the way it's intended to work. So I said, so yes, I had this goal of losing 50 pounds, right? But how much was I gonna lose each month? What was I gonna do to lose 10 pounds a month in those weeks? How many, and what is healthy weight loss? I've learned for me, my body and my, lifestyle and working with dietitians and different people. Shout out to Desiree Smith. She was she's a healthcare worker who worked with bariatric patients and brought a program to our church many, many years ago called um, the uh, what's it, the something challenge. I can't remember the name of it, but shout out to her because she gave us a lot of information around what visceral fat looks like and what this. And so healthy weight loss based on my numbers, my BMI at that time was 2 to 3 pounds a week. That was my personal goal. So those are process goals, because you're not going to lose 50 pounds in a week healthy in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Even in surgery, you won't be able to do that. You can lose it at one time with all the fat that's being taken away, but to maintain it. So when we're talking about these big goals, you're right, Craig. It is important to write them down because it reinforces it. But I would say do what Jim Collins is saying. The BHAG. Write down your what you want to do for the rest of your life. Whether that's 10, 20, 30 years down the road, whatever that is, write those things down, and then you pick those process goals. Okay, so for this year, this is what I want to accomplish. For this month, in this year, this is what it will take for me to do that. So you actually have a lot of different action plans going on at one time. And when we write them down, we figure out these tentacles or these branches. Like when I lose the 50 pounds, I'm 3 pounds away from losing, me personally, I'm 3
Sure.
pounds away from losing 50 pounds. Could you imagine if I just grind for the next 2 weeks, knowing that I can lose 1 to 3 pounds every week? I by my event, I could reach my goal.
Yeah.
So now I'm talking myself into it, like, oh, okay, it's possible,
Right.
and so what am I going to do to get there? And I think that's where the rubber meets the road, where we start getting into that settling. We still want to behave the same way and expect a different outcome.
It's
We still
insanity.
want to have the same mindset. And I love what you said earlier. We want to accept anything. Well, you said don't be accepting of nothing, but we want to accept anything and
Yeah.
still expect me to reach the goal that I'm saying I want. We cannot
Yeah.
settle for nothing. We wouldn't accept it in a relationship. If somebody said, "Oh, I'm gonna give you my one of number two in my life," gave number two X, had all these lofty promises. I want to buy you a house. I'm gonna buy your dad. I'm gonna buy your brother a church. I'm gonna buy your mama a house. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Mhm.
Can we start with you getting a job? Can we start with you paying one bill?
Right.
Can we start with therapy? Can we? You gotta. So accept. I was refusing to accept nothing. Is the point?
Right.
You're telling me these things, but your actions, your behavior. So why would I accept nothing from myself? Why am I choosing to settle when I already know that what I want is possible, even if it's as scary as it can be? I'm probably not dreaming big enough if it's not so scary, right? If it's not scary, I'm probably not dreaming big enough because I'm not thinking beyond myself and the impact and who and resources and different things. And I said that earlier. So don't be accepting of nothing.
No.
You got
And
to get those goals in place.
I love what you're saying too, because it's such a reminder of us to, a lot of us are in denial of what the of ramifications of our lack of action or inaction, right?
Hmm.
Some of us are scared to death. Those are, figure with me, I had like some men don't like to get their physicals every year, but I'm not trying to be that way anymore. So I've gone regularly the last several years, right?
Good. Hmm.
And I got some tests back, and I was all nervous because of what my dad had,
Hmm.
died of or had issues with, and my mom had
Yeah.
issues with. And I was, in my mind, I was thinking, so that's not true. We cancel those words. In my mind, I was wrestling with agreeing with their illnesses because it was in
Hmm.
my bloodline. Well, just because it's in my bloodline or my DNA or they had it doesn't mean I have to have it, because
Right.
I set aside and start better habits. There's some things that are habitual that we do that promote bad health, that promote diseases, and that
Hmm.
we do actions and mindsets and behaviors that are the opposite or the antithesis of that. We
Hmm.
can become healthy and prolong our life and have a wonderful life in a physical nature. Now, if we don't have, so I guess we get down to that as well. Some of us don't have a wonderful life in here mentally because
Hmm. Hmm.
our lives are sucks, and we think our life is so bad and we're so bad, and so why even try? And on the outside we may have this whole shell of a, oh, thank you, Lord, I'm so whatever, so whatever this is on the outside. But in reality, on the inside, there's so much denying of who God is and the power that he has and the truth that he has for our life and our own belief, not in him, but our belief that he would do what he's doing for others, or what we think we see him doing for others.
That's it.
Could do, yes, but would he do it? That's a separate question and separate belief for us. How do I know? I've lived from there. I've commuted from that
Mm-hmm.
that mindset for so many years, where I would stay up. I pray for somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and come home super exhausted and have migraines, standing in the cap and with someone else, was brother so and so, sister so and so. I believe in your prayer. I believe in your profession
Yes.
of faith.
Yes.
But what about my profession of faith? What about
Yes.
my belief? What about my desires? What about what I believe the Lord has given for me? What about that small secret desire that I've kept
Mm-hmm.
tucked away in the
Mm-hmm.
back pocket of a pocket, wrapped up in a napkin somewhere that got washed 4 or 5 times, that
Yeah.
is all tightly wound up? I know what it said in there, but it's something I really wanted that you won't share with even yourself or speak it out loud. Heaven forbid you speak
Mm-hmm.
it out loud to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What's the belief in those big, hairy, audacious goals?
Yeah.
Because God will do them. We can do anything. We can do all things, right? That's what the scripture says. All things. Not that
Mm-hmm.
all doesn't have a but.
Mm-mm.
It says all.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we, but there's a requirement that
Yeah.
that has that take effect. And if we
Mm-hmm.
don't fulfill that requirement, and I think that's where a lot of us get off base, we want all of the accolades and we want all of the quick results. We want all of the benefits without any of the responsibility or the work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the work is based on our faith and our mindset before any of it can be unlocked. Otherwise, you say, well, God, didn't you hear me? Didn't you hear me calling? No, I didn't. Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't hear fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He don't hear the things that are not out of love, so he's not going to hear you. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, your words probably go as far as the ceiling or far as your voice can be heard outside, because it doesn't reach him, because it's based out of fear. We have to get the
Mm-hmm.
fear part handled, and then we can deal with the truth. And the truth will what? Those, depending on the translation, either make or set, depending
Right.
and those two different camps between set, that means someone else had a way to unlock the door. Whatever your mindset is, are you free? Yes. So let's not be so super spiritual in the set versus make, right? Free is
Mm-hmm.
free, right? Free is free. And if you want to get free, we've got to first free our mind. And with the song saying, or ask will follow, then I
And the
said, well,
rest will follow.
it's
Yeah.
in the, so I can use the word legally without it becoming harsh, right? Harsh, like strong language, right? But that's what we got to do. Free our mind. And for those who are super spiritual, offended, then the rest will follow.
Yeah. For sure. As you were talking, I was thinking about on 2 Sundays, I had the opportunity. One Sunday, kind of an impromptu testimony, and then the next Sunday, I spoke for the Sunday morning worship service, and I was reminding the congregation Philippians 4, um, the entire chapter, but the verse was like rejoice. Again, I say rejoice, and like the context is that sometimes we're in situations where we don't feel like it's worthy of rejoicing, whether you're physically in prison or whether you're mentally imprisoned by your thoughts, or your heart is locked up, or whatever it is. We got bills that are due, we got kids that are acting crazy, or as my daughter says, I'm not crazy, I'm authentic. And I'm like, yes, you are, girl. So, all of the, we're facing divorce, we're breaking up with friends, we're all of the things. And yet our command is to rejoice in all things, no matter what the circumstances are. And I was sharing the testimony because you brought up the old house too.
Mhm.
In that time when we got that first house, we went from a condo that was two master suites, 2 bedrooms, two master suites, living room space in the middle, kitchen, all of that. And then we had the boys had their own bathroom. Both rooms had en suites, but our bathroom was a shared bathroom, right? So it was our bathroom connected to our room with two entry doors, kind of like Jack and Jill kind of a thing.
Mhm.
But it was the guest bathroom also. So during that time, before me and Steve got married, there was a promise that was made to me, that was spoken over my life, that I would have double for my trouble. And that was based on the 2 divorces and, the life that I was going to have. Well, the 1 divorce, and then heading into this next relationship that I thought was a promise, and it wasn't. I will
Sure.
not bore you with those details again. Long story short, ended up getting married the 3rd time. Me and Steve of now we'll be celebrating 12 years of marriage next month. So during that time, we got our first house, if you will. We were renting a condo, and so we had that 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. We had 2 kids in the house, right?
Mhm.
And he had the 3 older kids, and I was in contact with my inherited daughter. So basically, we had almost the double with our kids already. So it was already starting to manifest. This is where I'm going with that. So we had 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Then we were intentional. We had a dream. We're like, we're paying this much in rent. We could buy a house for this amount. We tapped into the VA. We ended up getting a house with 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. That was the house that you saw in Chula Vista, right? So
Sure.
double. Think about it, right? We didn't get double the bathrooms yet, but we had double the rooms. We
Yeah.
invested so much in that property. And remember, the prayer was, or the promise was, double for my trouble, double everything. If you had 1 house, you're going to have 2 houses. If you had 2 kids, you're going to have 4 kids. If you had 2 cars, if you have 1 car, you're going to have 2 cars. Like all the things, including love and happiness and all of those great things. That was over 14 years ago. Okay, that promise was made. So fast forward, we get this new house, we invest, we're intentional, we didn't settle. We made a list of what we wanted. We said, Lord, we want at least 4 bedrooms, at least 2 baths, right? I wanted every kid to have their own room. I didn't want them sharing rooms and all of that. These were my personal isms, and we didn't want house guests to have to take, when my mom would come over. When I say house guests, I didn't want my kids to have to give up their room for her to have a space. So when we had Caitlin, now we have 3 kids, which means we need all 4 rooms for me and Big Daddy to have our own space, right? So we invest all this money, we remodel, but when we remodeled the property, we technically ended up with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, because our room was an addition that couldn't be listed as a room. We looked, my son, one of our older sons, sent us the property and said, look, they're selling your house again. And it was had increased the price or whatever, and it was now listed as 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, right, with all the beauty that they added in addition to what we had done. And it hit me, Craig, you got double for your trouble. The word came back to me, because when we sold that house, after we prayed and were intentional and didn't settle on anything less than what we thought we
Mhm.
were due at that time, when I
Mhm.
made the new list and said, Lord, thank you for what you've done, I know that there's more, because now we're out of space and we have maximized this property to where we're going to start losing money if we don't sell it. I got
Sure.
the job up north. We bought this house, 6 bedrooms, 4 bath,
Wow.
double,
Wow.
double the amount of property,
Wow.
double, double the dogs too. Jesus help me. I just heard him going out there
I
shaking.
got and I got 2 for you too. So you can have them. I'll bring them over tonight.
No,
Trust me. I'll
no,
bring,
no,
you know
no,
what?
no.
I got you. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. No, shh, I got
Cha,
you. I got you. I'll
no.
bring it over.
What I'm saying is that it took 14 years
Yeah.
for that. And we have our princess. So we do have double the kids.
Yeah.
We have 7 in our blended family. So where each of us had our separate and then combined together. So
Sure.
we got double. It took a long time. It took a long time, but we did not settle. We did not settle on anything. We didn't settle on nothing, and we didn't settle on anything that didn't match what that promise was. And I know we don't want to wait. I said on Sunday, we don't want to wait 14 days for income tax, return, let alone 14 years. But the point that I'm really making is that when you're sure on what it is that you've heard, when you're sure on what it is that is within you, that is your gift or your promise that is to be manifested, when you are confident and you write that thing down, and it may not make any sense to anybody else, but I promise you, if you write it down, not just getting through this month, I'm talking about living the rest of your life in the way that you envision, It is absolutely possible, but you cannot settle for
No.
anything less. Not in a relationship, not in a job, not in a home. Are there going to be hard times where you might have to sleep on somebody's couch? I did.
Yeah.
I was homeless for a period. Me and my sons were homeless for a period. It didn't matter. We still got it because that dream never died. And that's Les Brown. I was listening to him this morning, and he said, "Don't stop chasing your dream. If it's in there, where do you think that dream came from? You just up and decided I'm gonna be a millionaire. It wouldn't have come out your mouth if it wasn't already in you. I'm own a home. I'm own a business or whatever that dream is. It may not look like it's happening right now. Les
Yeah.
Brown slept in his office and was ridiculed by the business owners for sleeping in his office. He said, "Wait a minute. I'm following my dream. I'm chasing my dream. Me and two other people that believe in my dream. It's not that we're sleeping in there and that we think this is a hotel. We're sleeping in there because we work so late trying to hustle on this dream. So you're laughing at me going to brush my teeth in the community, public restroom, but I've been here dreaming up a bigger dream. And here I am today. While you laughing, I'm on the stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people, living out my dream every single day because I didn't stop dreaming.
Yeah.
Don't settle. Keep dreaming. Write the dream down, and I promise you, it'll come to pass."
And those who are, solopreneurs or homepreneurs, I guess you could almost call it.
Yeah.
Those who work from home.
Yeah.
One of those situations, where this office that we're shooting in, this is the single car garage, right?
Listen,
Behind that fancy faux brick wall is
yeah,
is our shop, right? I
yeah.
occupy at least half of the room, if not 2/3 of the room over there. I sleep in this place. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So, but I don't. I guess that's the trouble that I think we need to pay attention to. Sleeping in your dream is different from sleeping on your dream.
love it.
And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to sleep on my dream and figure, okay, well, I got a machine over there. It should be running, and it is, and I get all sad because its sales are low. Okay, fine. Until the sales pick up again, what could I be doing with the machine to make revenue for me or make revenue for the family? Is there something we could be doing, whether it be making a demo show, making stuff for social media, making stuff for advertising, making stuff for whatever reason? So today, I don't normally like to let my heat presses just run and sit there, but in preparation, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to be prepared so that you're ready. And so some people are like, "What do you mean? You got to be ready so that you're prepared." No, it has to. The word I got, it has to be the reverse. I have
Yes.
to be prepared so that I'm ready. And ready meaning I have to be prepared. I have to study. I have to practice. I have to do whatever it takes to prepare myself so when the time is right, when it's ready for me to go and do and perform or show and prove, to the use a hip hop term, I don't have to now go get prepared and get ready,
Yeah.
right? So today, when we're done recording, I'm going to go print for one for a client, and then two, I'm printing for some shirts that I'm going to actually take to class today. And
Yeah.
I'm now okay. Like I said, I've never done that before. I've gone back to school in so long, and I've never been in school being a 55-year-old adult, 55-year-old
Mhm.
freshman, right?
Uh-huh.
Who is a father and a business owner. That's a
Right.
whole different thing. And I own a print business, and so we're talking about bringing. The teacher had mentioned, oh yeah, you should consider bringing props or something to show what we could be using these graphics for.
Hmm.
So and I actually spoke it out loud yesterday that I want to win the contest because in our
Nice.
class, we actually have a chance with all of the work we're doing. It'll be sent to other professors in our department, and they'll
Hmm.
choose which of the graphics that they like the best, and then that'll go into production, paid for by by the college
Hmm.
for the event to announce and show the open house for for that department's new building in May. And
Hmm.
I'm thinking, well, shoot, I'm also pull out all the stops. I have an unfair advantage, which is fair to me, right? Because it's my business. So if I want to bring in examples of what we could do to
Hmm.
show, this graphic best, I can bring a tote bag, I can bring a shirt, I can bring a hoodie, I can bring a variety of apparel printed items to
Yes.
show how this graphic could best be maximized and showcased and given away and to draw attention to to the opening of this new building. So there's no reason why I shouldn't.
Nope.
So after this, I'm going to print up 3 or 4, and the goal is to, I'm going to even make it even sicker. I'm giving them away to the students. If you're
Absolutely.
here, have a free thing, have a bag, and to make sure the professor says, we have a couple of these for you too, so as you can start circulating around. And canvas bags got 2 sides, right? One side will be one graphic design, the other side is going to be the other graphic design. So, and if I wanted to be nasty with it, I could put one side of the front of the shirt be one graphic, because we have to present 3 graphics, right? And the back can be
Here's the thing. Here's the
here.
thing, and I'm interrupting you on purpose. Here's the thing. Whether you win the contest or not, you can still win the contract, right? So you showing this, if someone else graphic is on it, you don't care, right? You still accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. And if you get that, when you get that bid, when you get that contract, you're printing somebody else's material in there, which opens up other doors. So you win regardless. You win by doing it, and you win by sharing it, and you win by showing it.
Yeah,
All of it is all good for you.
yeah. And along that winning, even if I don't win either one, I'm winning because I've turned out better designs faster than I
Absolutely.
before, and it's challenging and pushing me to make my graphics better. So if someone's going to beat me, they're going to have to make a big run and push for it, because one of the things our teacher said to do too is make sure you make yourself a salesman and you pitch your
Yeah.
idea. She gave an example of another faculty member. She says, you know, this person is not the best designer in the world, but he's a heck of a salesperson. So he
Nice.
he winds up selling you. She didn't use the word inferior. That was my word. But she
Mm-hmm.
says he'll wind up selling you on a design that he's done because
Mm-hmm.
he's got such great pitch skills behind it. And I'm thinking, okay, so I was up this morning, and even spent some time late last night. I've got my pitch notes together as to why certain shapes were used, certain colors were used. So I'm not going to wait or sleep on a goal. If this is something that I want and the Lord has given me to go, to go do, why not show? Why not prove?
Yeah.
Nobody owns a machine like mine in that class. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a commercial printer. I'm an apparel decorator. So there's no reason why I don't come in wearing my own. I wear my school clothes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
School clothes to
Absolutely.
school, right? So I'm gonna show in there. I'm gonna go in there with sleeve. I'm gonna get a long sleeve shirt. I'm gonna put stuff on the sleeve for the sleeve design. I'm gonna put stuff on the nape of the neck. I'm gonna put the stuff where they can show, hey, this is how this particular design could look and show and prove on things that we can give away, things that we can do and bring lots of attention. And if it is not this design, it can
Mm-hmm.
also be done with other designs. So I'm not trying to be like, if it ain't me, it ain't free. No, I want to be like you said. I want to be the commercial printer that's printing the items, because I can't honestly say that
Mm-hmm.
they actually have that from their program, is that they actually had a student to
Yeah.
actually contractor that created the work that was sanctioned by the university. I want that. I want that first time historical measure as well.
I love that. I love how you're encouraging yourself too, and wearing your own gear, repping your own
Mhm.
gear. It's so important. You are a walking billboard for the work that you do and the dream that you have. And whatever conversation that you can have, whether it's a 3-minute elevator pitch or whether it's a full blown conversation of how you do, why you started the business, how you and your sons work together when they're there. All of those things are part of your brand. And I think that that's absolutely beautiful. And I love that you're planning for that. That was another thing that I was reminded of in the testimony was, remember hearing, if I gave you $1 million, what would you do with it?
What do you do with it?
And I was like, going back to your be prepared so you're ready. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody can give you something, the door can be open, but if you don't know how to work the machinery in your office, if you don't value that you have machinery in your office that you think can do what they want, that, I mean, it's so many different things going back to the mental prep. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan for what it is that you're dreaming about, because the dream could be right in front of you. One of my clients, the client I was telling you about, she's like, I said, well, for me, this is how much I weighed. And then when I didn't tell my family right away how much I weighed, because I was embarrassed. But when I lost 10 pounds, I was like, I lost 10 pounds. So I could talk about the
Sure.
number, of the pounds that I had lost with full confidence, because I was still dealing with the embarrassment of the number that I was and what I allowed myself to settle for. And she said, I haven't gotten on the scale yet. I said, you got to get on the scale. How are you going to know you reached 50? How are you going to know you reached your goal if you don't know where you're starting?
Yeah.
So this is you. How are you going to know that what your machine can do if you're not trying it on totes, if you're not trying it on hats, if you're not trying it on sleeves and shirts and backs and fronts and all the things that you're confidently talking about now? I remember when you first started, it's like, I need to see if my machine can do that. So
Right.
you've built up enough confidence to know this is what the machine can do. So now when you go into the classroom, or you go into the boardroom, or you go into the whatever, wherever you're selling your product, you can say with full confidence, look at what I've done, and I can do this and more. And I think that that's really important, but it started
Yeah.
with the mindset and then the plan. The
Yeah.
mindset and then the plan, because the door could be there and you will never walk through it because you don't know that it's your door, because you haven't written
Yeah.
it down. You
Yeah.
haven't talked about it. You haven't convinced yourself.
Yeah, and it takes time to write those plans. It takes time to do that. But I don't know how to write a business plan. Well, but you can write some thoughts out. You can journal it. You can make a note, right? And
Absolutely.
believe it or not, some of these people, these angel investors, they don't require business plans. They require, at least, did you put some time into your craft? Did you write something down? Is there some thought process that
Mhm.
lets me know as an investor that you're not just going to snort away or drink away their money, or just set it on
Right.
fire in your fireplace because it's cold at night, right? Are you going to eat your seed? No, I'm going to plant it in
Yeah.
the ground. Are you going to become so impatient? Are you going to go out there and dig it up and have a meal? Well,
Right.
no, I'm going to allow it to grow and do whatever it takes. I don't know if it was you and I talking, or someone else and I were talking, and they
Mhm.
asked me, well, Craig, you seem like you're busier now than ever.
Mhm.
How are you getting everything taken care of? And I said, well, sometimes that means I just got to get up and spend some more hours doing it. And if that means I'm getting up 5, sometimes 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, I have to make that happen, because there are no more days, so no more hours in the day.
Mhm.
I have to use everything I can. And then what about you? What if you need a rest? Well, if you need a nap, I'll go take a nap later.
Mhm.
But I got to if I start later, I
Mhm.
can't continue to work later. That
Man.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's not always the best solution.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
start earlier, if you're awake 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, sometime like I am, why not just get up?
Yeah. Yeah. I, I was talking about to my mom, she's retired and newlywed and all of this, and
Mhm.
she still has things that she's supposed to be doing. And so she was like, yeah, we stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning and we're retired and I said, what about your book? What about the things that you have already committed to doing? She's like, I'm getting off the phone with you. And I was like, you're getting off the phone with me because I'm telling you the truth. So you can be retired and live that life. And if you wake up at 4 o'clock, if you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you can't be mad that businesses are starting to shut down at 2 o'clock p.m. when you decide to roll out the bed and have breakfast.
Right.
You can't be mad that you've missed all the window of opportunity to talk to people that you can get help from to pursue this next portion of your dream,
Sure.
um, because you're doing that. And I'm not saying you're settling for you are settling to stay up this late and then complain for the next day, but you can do both
Yeah.
if you choose to. But you can't be mad that you're not reaching your goal, because you're doing that to yourself with the choice that you're making.
To yourself. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the truth. We do that to ourselves, and we've talked about that on the show before. How we are sometimes the accuser, and we're
Yes.
the abuser as well as the victim. But we're doing it all to ourselves, all at the
Yes.
same time, and we have nobody to be mad at but ourselves. And we don't want to be mad at ourselves. We don't want to be the one all the time taking responsibility and owning up to our own ish, as they say, right? But
Right.
we've got to own it, because if we don't own it, we never get beyond it, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
once I guess it's part of the whole, again, there's the Alcoholic Anonymous stuff again, and we have to accept that and admit that there's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And even in the grief strategy, we have to get past the denial portion that there's an issue there, that we're grieving
Mm.
something, and once we continue to accept and move beyond, right? that's when healing can truly, I don't want to say begin, but it can continue, because in both of these cases, those situations are never ending. They're a constant battle. You'll always be addicted to something. It's just something, you have to just manage the addiction, right? You'll always be grieving the loss of something. You just have to manage the pain, right? And just accept the fact that, yes, those situations are what they were, but I'm going to continue to live my life in a way that I can smile again, truly, without all the pain being underneath the smile, right? And where my eyes can smile with me versus showing the tear water, and I'm just trying to press back the water and the pain. So there's
Hmm.
got to be ways, once we get our minds right, moving towards the future, right, and following after God. And that Psalms 91 philosophy, right? Those
Hmm.
who live under the shelter or the shadows, not shelter, so
Hmm.
shadow of the Most High, right? So when
Hmm.
God is moving you towards something or away from something, right? We're
Hmm.
supposed to stay under his guidance. And if he's moving, a lot of us stayed put. A lot of us are staying there in the same place where we're burning. Let me keep talking. My son is outside. Life is life.
Absolutely. I love what I'm hearing you say. And I think one of the critical keys of the knowing that the grief will still be there or the pain will still be there and learning how to move beyond that is not just saying I'm moving beyond that, but it's repurposing that pain. And I think that that's where our purpose, that's where our call, that's where our assignments have to be really, really clear, because you can say all day long, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, I'm healed, but still acting out in a way that doesn't align with that. And it's one thing, like we were talking about, fake it till you make it. I personally, I don't know that that's true. I think we have to be honest and say, this is where I am, and make plans and be intentional about moving past that, moving. It's hard to say because that sounds harsh. Like, move past that. It's not move past that without acknowledgement. It's learn from what you're going through. I think that's a better way for me to say that. For me, if we're to resonate with me, learn what you need to learn from the pain that you've experienced. And I often say, I might go through something else, but I'm never going through that same thing again, because my goal is to learn from that and not put myself in a situation or not allow someone else to put me in a situation where then everything that I've worked for, everything that I believe, I'm now settling because it's somebody else's dream or someone else's expectation or someone else's. Um, there was a word that Don used last time. Their comfort level with me being where I am, that makes them feel comfortable. Now I'm settling for what they believe is true for me instead of grabbing a hold and understanding what is true for me in spite of the pain, using the
Right.
pain, using the grief, using those lessons to propel myself forward. So
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah. Or if we do find ourselves in that similar situation again, the outcome's going to be different. You know what I'm saying? Or or
Exactly.
or,
Yeah.
or the outcome's going to be the same in a positive way. It ain't going to be the same negative outcome every single time that when that junk comes around again. You're not going to get me like that again.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm wise enough to see it, that
Oh,
I'm like, I recognize it sooner. I recognize the pattern within me that allows a person, whatever the relationship is, allowing that to be a thing in my life. And I'm also recognizing that I see the patterns of other people that influence my wanting to fix or my wanting to, in the most positive ways, wanting to help. I was in a situation yesterday with a new friend, and I noticed some behaviors, and I'm saying new friend. We're getting to know each other, and we went out to dinner, went out to lunch, and she kept talking about how broke she was. But everywhere she's like, well, let's go here to eat. Let's go shopping. And I'm like, so that for me inside was like, you can't be broke and then spend all your money on food. Like, I'm going to buy what I can afford. So I don't know if that was, I don't know her well enough to know if that's something that she does. And then she was talking about a gift that someone gave to her. And it's like, okay, all these people that are surrounding you as new friends somehow are giving you something. So it was just like a little yellow flag going, beware. Doesn't mean she's a crook, doesn't mean she's a user, doesn't mean she's manipulative, But for me, I have to be aware that I'm not constantly picking up the bill because I just don't want to hear that. And it's like we're out together. So it's a recognition of my own behavior in those moments. And I know that kind of brings up another topic. So I apologize for being, it just hit me when anyway, the patterns are really important, and how we respond
Yeah,
to those
it's tough.
patterns is
It's
important.
tough. Once we see a pattern, pick it up, and all the day we'll have good stuff. No, I'm just kidding. Because that's really where it comes down to, right? What are we doing with the data received, right? People are going to really show us who they are. We just have to believe them, and we're showing people who we are, right?
Absolutely.
And we so desire people to believe us
Yes.
that, at least maybe that's just me, right? I've always been a person that's wanted people to see me and not just see what I do or see me from the color of my skin, right? I want you to see me, you
Hmm.
know, from on the inside, what I'm truly all about. And
Hmm.
I don't, I'm at a point in my life now where I really don't care anymore, right?
Hmm.
What you think about what I'm showing, but
Hmm.
I'm going to show and prove who I am, not to prove it to you so you believe it, but proving it to myself. That was one of the things in my presentation today, in my presentation notes, is that in it from a graphic design perspective,
Hmm.
most things in life are centered around design. From the cup that you're from the cup you're having and the color that it has, to the way the lettering reads on it, to the way your sweater is, the way the drapes were packaged and colored and set. There's someone that had to graphically design that to be seen, to be shown, to be created, right?
Hmm.
So if what we do is such a fabric or such a heart of what we do, we are really showing the world who we are through what we
Hmm.
design. It's showing what we see, what we've envisioned, the thing
Hmm.
when you're on stage and you're helping people, and when you're on the phone helping people,
Hmm.
your your design of your books and your manuscripts and your notes and your plans and programs
Hmm.
for people, then through Night Consulting, it's all a part of design, and you're
Hmm.
really helping people throughout the fabric of their life. And so people really are seeing you, they're hearing you, they're seeing us, they're hearing us. The
Yes.
truth for a lot of us that struggle with self image of self is that we don't believe that the things that we're creating is really a part of us. I've lived
Mm-hmm.
realized that I've compartmentalized everything I do for a client as being separate from coming from and being a part of me.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if it's Michael Jackson's song or whatever it is, a song, just another part of me.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is.
Hmm.
Everything we do is just another part of us. So people can see and are seeing who we are.
Hmm.
So if you struggle with identity and who you are and what you think of yourself, and you don't like what you see, I don't know why that song is Diana Ross keeps popping in my mind where she says, "Do you know what you're going through? Do you like the things that life is showing you? What you're going
Mm.
through, do you know?" And if you don't like what you're seeing, then let's get the help that you need let's get you some tools for your toolbox. Dr. Knight's got a brilliant practice, I say practice, bring a program organization that can help
Mhm.
you get to where you need to be. She can help you get you on a path to success. And sometimes success is just winning in here. If we can win in
Mhm.
our brain, then we can win in life. And so, DM us, text us, email us. Shall we put up our fancy banners? It's Knight&Craig at gmail.com. On Instagram and Facebook, it's Knight and Craig Show. Oh, sorry, Knight&Craig on Instagram and Facebook. So,
Mhm.
DM us there if you want to be on this program. And on Shell, we have never done this before. And I throw the
What is
challenge.
that?
If we have a person that has a question, comment, or concern, or
Mhm.
needs help actively, that they would be open to share a position of where they are in life.
Mhm.
And we can invite them to be on the show. Of course, we'd have to have some strategy time at first before we go
Sure.
program. But if we want to walk out something together to help someone, I encourage people, if you have something like that, you want to talk to Dr. Knight, you want to be a part of the program, be a part of the discussion, contact us and we can get you some help, whether we help you real time in a show to help others, or
Mhm.
help you personally, privately, so you can still go out and help others.
Yeah.
Let us know.
That's one of the goals, actually. And thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. And it's all about not settling and accepting, who we are and what our purpose is. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about you and me, and being in the position to do that has
Yeah.
been a beautiful opportunity that I don't take for granted. And Craig is right. If you're open to having a live conversation, we would love to do that. But one of the goals of this show is actually to do some live work, like be on site together. Craig and I have been trying to figure out the best way to do that, and it's been good to be busy and productive, to be honest. And we haven't had the scheduling flexibility to do that because we're building our businesses and things like that, and doors are opening. All that is great. And if you are in the greater San Diego area and you want to do a live show, we would be open to that after some strategy conversation online and see what would be the best approach. So thank you so much. Remember, do not settle. No settling in this season. Get clear on what you want, make a plan, and manifest that thing, baby. Love you.
I came to win, I don't mean to offend. The greatest on the mic, mightiest with the pen. Losing never been a choice, but a line is the same. Ascending, word, been in verse, birth in the gym. Akin to the best, never aiming for less. Opposition so foul, got me calling for rest. Who's next to get bested? Mind, soul, and flesh is antithesis of mess. It's the precious of wings. So long, you better catch a God, throw him the scenes.